You know that voice in your head right now? The one listening to me talk. Yeah, that one. Here's something that'll mess you up: when you argue with yourself, your brain literally thinks you're talking to another person. And we have the brain scans to prove it. So picture this. You're lying in bed at 2 a.m. and your brain decides to replay that conversation from earlier. You know the one where you said that slightly weird thing, and now you're having a full debate with yourself about whether everyone thinks you're an idiot. One voice is going, "You definitely sounded stupid." Another voice fires back, "No, they probably didn't even notice." Then a third jumps in, "But what if they tell other people?" Most people think this is just random thoughts bouncing around. But neuroscientists put people in fMRI machines, told them to have these internal arguments, and what they found changes everything. When you argue with yourself, 3 specific brain regions light up like a Christmas tree. The right temporoparietal junction, the medial prefrontal cortex, and the posterior cingulate. Now here's the kicker: these are your theory of mind regions. This is the exact same neural network your brain uses when you're trying to figure out what someone else is thinking. Let me say that again. When you're debating whether to text your ex, your brain is recruiting the same systems it uses when you're trying to read your boss's mood or figure out if your friend is mad at you. Your brain is treating future you or rational you or anxious you as completely separate people. You're not just thinking. You're having a legitimate neural conversation with multiple versions of yourself, and your brain is burning energy like you're in an actual social situation. But it gets weirder. There are actually 2 completely different types of inner speech happening in your brain, and they use totally different wiring. Type 1 is spontaneous inner speech. This is the voice that just appears. The one that goes, "I'm such an idiot." Or, "I really want pizza right now." This activates an area called Heschel's gyrus in your temporal lobe. You're not choosing these thoughts. They're just showing up. Type 2 is deliberate inner speech. This is when you force yourself to think something. Like when you stand in the mirror and try to convince yourself, "I am confident. I am capable. I am enough." This activates Broca's area in your frontal lobe, which is your speech production zone. And here's why positive affirmations feel so fake and uncomfortable: you're literally using the wrong brain network. Your brain didn't evolve to have these internal debates. It evolved to navigate complex social environments. To predict what the guy with the spear is gonna do. To figure out if that person smiling at you is friendly or planning something. So when you're overthinking whether you should quit your job, your brain isn't just weighing pros and cons. It's running full personality simulations. It's activating your temporoparietal junction to take the perspective of future employed you. Then it switches and activates it again to imagine future unemployed you. Back and forth. Over and over. This is why overthinking is so exhausting. You're not just thinking about a decision. Your brain is hosting a full conference call with multiple versions of yourself, and every single one of them thinks they're a different person. Now here's where it gets really trippy. Brain scans show that your brain distinguishes between when you're creating a thought versus when you're listening to your own mental voice. When you're generating the thought, your left inferior frontal gyrus lights up. That's your inner speaker. But when you're receiving that same thought, your auditory cortex and superior temporal sulcus activate. That's your inner listener. Your brain has a microphone and a speaker running at the same time. You are simultaneously the person talking and the person being talked to. Think about that next time your inner critic goes off. There's a part of your brain generating the criticism and a completely different part receiving it and reacting to it. But wait, there's another player in this whole setup. Deep in your brain, there's a structure called the caudate nucleus. This little guy controls the emotional tone of your inner speech. When you're trying to stay calm during an argument with yourself, your caudate nucleus fires up to suppress the emotional volume. It's like a sound engineer adjusting levels. But here's the thing, the same structures that process emotional expression in your spoken words also process the emotional expression in your internal thoughts. This is why some people have an inner voice that screams at them while others have one that whispers. It's why your internal critic can feel so vicious even though nobody else can hear it. The emotional weight is just as real to your brain as if someone was actually yelling at you. So what does all this mean? Well, next time you catch yourself in one of these internal arguments, remember, you're not broken. You're not overthinking because you're anxious or weird. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It's just that instead of using these social reasoning networks to navigate a tribe of 150 people, you're using them to referee a debate between the part of you that wants to go to the gym and the part that wants to stay in bed watching Netflix. Your brain can't tell the difference. To your neural networks, those voices are as real as the voice of your best friend or your mom or that coworker you can't stand. You're not one person having thoughts. You're a whole committee of neural perspectives, all fighting for airtime in the same skull. And now you know exactly which parts of your brain are in that meeting room. Pretty wild, right? Subscribe for more Mind Explained.